It's Euro Qualifier 2024 picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Head to cut.com, that's KUTT.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, NHL, college basketball and more. Sign up today. Use the promo code PLGP to get a 100% deposit match. And we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Sunday, March the 24th, and we are here to have a little look around what happened at the weekend, which wasn't a fat lot, really. And then we got some more European stuff, and I've had a little dip into the National League. I've got no idea what Barry's done because we haven't discussed it even a little bit. So it's just one big surprise. What's happened is the international break has ground us down to the point that we no longer feel like living or we're just existing, Baz, at this point. How are you doing? Have you survived international break?
I've survived it perfectly well. I haven't watched a fucking thing, Malcolm. Literally.
Nah, fair enough.
I just had no interest, and I've quite enjoyed having a weekend just switching off from it. So, yeah, it hasn't bothered me. I know you're sitting watching Italy v Ecuador at the moment or something like that. And
No, I wasn't.
Following it. I haven't followed anything today. Funnily enough, I mean, I went on TikTok live on Thursday night or something like that, and everyone was complaining that Spain had let them down. And I said, I don't even know who Spain played tonight or who they got beat off, but everyone was complaining. It turned out they got beat 1-0 off Colombia. But I just had no interest in any of that international friendly stuff.
Didn't see, that was news to me, Baz.
The scoreline stuff was good, and the picks were good. The Euro qualifier, so I've no problem coming back in and handicapping these 3 games this week. But even England-Brazil, I watched probably about 20 minutes of that while I was in the bath. And then I come downstairs and the family had the telly on and I didn't make any effort.
1% club again.
I think, yeah, it was what we had 1% club on last night. So I had no interest in seeing them. Oh, can I put the football? Because I just wasn't bothered. Which is always the way. International friendlies just don't interest me a bit. So I haven't looked at any of the international friendlies. I've looked at the 3 qualifying games for this week. And I looked in that National League where you've got a pick, and I thought, I cannot even be arsed with that, Malcolm. So I've got 3 picks, that's it. There's just no point forcing things with absolute dog shit. And the EFL stuff for me this weekend was shite as well. So let's not force it. Let's just get through these next few days. I've got 3 winners in the European qualifiers. That's fine. And then we'll get back into the good stuff.
I watched Thursday night's qualifiers because that's what we picked from, and we did very, very, very well, Baz. We nailed it, in fact, and that's pretty much it. I watched Harrogate v Bradford on Saturday lunchtime again because I had a pick in it, but apart from that, I've got myself out of it. But I have found it incredibly dull. They are the dullest weekends of the year by an absolute mile. Part of the problem I had was that Bob's football on Saturday morning was a 9 o'clock kickoff, and it was right on the doorstep. So I didn't even fill in any time with that because I was back in the house by like 20 past 10. Like normally where I'd be getting out of bed. So I was like, what am I going to do now until bedtime? I had to fill in 12 hours. This morning's game was a 9:15 kickoff. Again, it was just up in Heaton. So I was back in the house again by 11:15 in the morning. Absolutely painful. So I went baseball practice today with the Nighthawks. That was fun. And I purchased several ornamental grasses, Barry. If you'd seen Thursday's, it might have been Thursday or Friday's YouTube short. came from the ornamental grass section. But Barry, it's been blowing a gale all weekend, and I was too afeared to put my ornamental grasses outside, so they're still sitting in the conservatory. The wind really affected all the football as well, so I think we can use that as an excuse for our AFL picks, because I watched the Bradford Harrogate game and I picked Harrogate and they won. But it was unbearable. Bob's game, yes, it was impossible. My mate at Harrogate Town, the academy team, so his kids on the scholarship, they played Bradford City academy team. I don't know if it was just coincidence or they always play like, what's the word, reciprocal fixtures or whatever. But he said it was attack v defence because you couldn't get out your own penalty area. And then at half time, having played with the wind for the first half, the Bradford City manager said it was a health and safety issue, and they just all went home. So he wouldn't play. He wouldn't play the second half. Like, you expect that maybe he's like under nines or something, but not like 17-year-old kids. He just didn't want to play the second half, so he just said, "Nah, health and safety. We're all going home. 4-0 up," and just nicked off. So at the end of that.
I mean, the wind didn't affect my under-14 girls team this morning. We heavy wind this morning. We were playing uphill into the wind first half, 3-0 up, bosh. Second half, downhill, wind behind us, 7-0 in the second half. Finished 10 out the day, Malcolm. Fine victory, coaching masterclass once again.
Well done for upsetting the whole host of adolescent girls. Chat, Harry is in. Chelsea, how you doing? The Backus family, good evening. Lee's in. Lloydo's gone full circle. Lloydo wants Newcastle to win the league with 500,000 to 1 this week. He flip-flops. Courtney thinks you've got a set of tits behind your bars when it's the nosy cow. We've discussed this before. Who did I say? Lee's in. Callum, disappointing. So Jar's here as well. So I'll tell you who else played tonight, Barry. Again, San Marino played St Kitts again tonight.
What was the score? I'd seen that was on tonight. What was the score?
The score, Barry, was San Marino 0, St Kitts and Nevis 0. Well done, everyone involved in that. So San Marino were 6-4 again. They went off 6-4 twice in 3 days against St Kitts and couldn't get over the line in either. Lost one and drew one. So back to the drawing board for San Marino. But I think we did well the other night. The qualifiers were quite exciting, quite interesting. There was tons of goals. And the great pick, Barry, was the Wales pick. And I think we handicapped it absolutely to death because they won 4-1 comfortably. The players that we talked about, a lot of them played very well and scored goals as well. They were very visible. And obviously that was on our radar because there was a bit of local involvement with Wales as well. So they did well. There was goals in Greece. And then Harrogate won. Harrogate was the nice price. Harrogate was the price that got me kind of well ahead. So at one point I was 3 for 3 and then blobbed the 2 afternoon games. But again, I'm putting them down to the wind. So finished up on, 5 units and I won 7 in a bit. So it's a shame I couldn't get up to double bubble. But yeah, perfectly happy with a few winners, Baz. The EFL stuff seemed hard at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost like international weekends and them lot can't be asked as well. Internationals for me, again, fine. Wales was good. And the Poland game, I was really pleased with the Poland game because I did say Poland win to 0 was probably a decent shout, but it was really short, 1-2. So swerve that. I said I like Poland to win both halves or Poland to score both halves was the slightly safer option. Took the 2 of those. Both won. Trebled them up. So we had the 3 games that we put out for that night, 6-1 for the Greece goals. The Poland scoring both halves and Wales to win came in at 6-1. Lee unfortunately tagged on his own pick of Lewandowski to score a goal. Sorry for shouting you out, Lee. He bumped his up to 8-1 by adding in Lewandowski. 5 goals for Poland, and Lewandowski doesn't get one. That's just absolutely ridiculous. That was really unlucky. But yeah, international stuff was good. I then took Mansfield, shite. Both teams to score in the Morecambe game came in within about 15 minutes. So that was all right for the AFL. But then I finished off in style in the late game in the AFL. I took MK Dons as a dog. They got beat 5-0, Malcolm. I think they were 3-0 down at half time, finished 5-0. So
we like that.
Absolute garbage that was for. But they were 7-2. Although I did see a double chance looked a really good even money shot, and that was nowhere near either. So yeah, 1 out of 3 in the EFL, 3 out of 5 altogether. But happy to hit that international treble, and happy to have swerved absolutely everything else in terms of this international dog shit.
Yeah, Frank Gallagher, I think, hit the big international treble, didn't he, on Thursday night? He posted a photo of his betting slip, so that was a good one. Mansfield was the coupon buster. I think Lloyd was pointing out that a lot of backers went down. Was it it was the early game, though, wasn't it?
The early game, they went 1-0 down. They scored midway through the second half, and they created more than enough chances to win it. Just didn't get back into it in the end. Finished 1-1.
Captain Sino, aye, Captain, how are you? Joined us. So the 3 final qualifiers are on Tuesday night, so we're going to have a look at those. We haven't discussed these at all, Baz, because there was a couple of picks that jumped off the page to me. One in particular, Baz, episode 166. This might be my best bet of the lot, so I'll be interested to see if you've come to the same conclusions as me. I quite like it when we do this, when we've got no idea where the other ones are going, because, like I say, there was just a couple, whether that system plays or what, but I'll see where you end up, Barry. Once I've told you first about Cut, a peer-to-peer social betting platform, US-based, available in 40 states. P2P social betting is a new, better way to bet. You can bet directly against your friends or other users on any topic you want. Put your own bets on there, see if you can get some customers. It's the thing to do. Cut handles all the payment, low vig, the social features on there, and cashback rewards as well. So download Cut in the App Store or go to kutt.com. That's kutt.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports and the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Just pick 5 players if you want to do stuff, baskets, shots, points, whatever you want. Pick between 2 and 5 and go higher or lower on the totals. Win up to 100x your money. You'll also get a pick 'em entry for free as well if you sign up. When we have got a show code here, the promo code is PLGP, and that will get your first deposit doubled up to $100 and instant pick 'em special. Visit underdogfantasy.com, find them in the App Store, and don't forget to register with our promo code PLGP to get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick 'em special. Must be 18 or over, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Right, Tuesday night, qualifiers. 3 final spots in Euro 2024 up for grabs. The first one, we've got one early game, 5 p.m. There's 2 7:45s. So the early game is Georgia against Greece. That's 5 p.m., which will be 12 or 1 Eastern time. No one sure of the time. There's been a little bit of line movement, Baz. Line movement report on Georgia versus Greece. They were 13-5 plus 260, Georgia. Now 12-5 plus 240. So a little bit of money for Georgia. The draw has drifted a 1/10 of a point to 21-10 plus 210, and Greece have drifted a 1/10 of a point to 13-10 plus 130. This is one of the games I think's got an interest in picking it, Baz. So I might request you lead off here, and I want to see if you head down the same direction as me, or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, Barry, I will keep with tradition and go first.
I'm comfortable either way. I'm completely flexible in this situation.
And I'll start punching the air and celebrating when you get the same pick as me.
Yeah, so Georgia arrive here having beaten Luxembourg 2-0 in the first round of qualifiers the other day. Prior to that, they finished 4th in qualifying in a group involving Spain, Scotland, Norway, were the 3 that finished ahead of them. The best they got out of those lot was a couple of draws. They got a home draw, Scotland, and a home draw against Norway. They did lose to both of those sides on the road, though. Greece cruised to a 5-0 win in the game where you took the goals, beat Kazakhstan. They finished 3rd in their group, behind France and Netherlands. Best results in their campaign was probably the 2-2 home draw against France. The 2 of them last faced each other in the 2021 in 2021 in World Cup qualifying, Greece won the away match. So they are away here. They won the away match 2-0 and drew 1-1 at home. So those are the two recent head-to-heads. Greece ranked 49th in the world, Georgia 77. And both of them are here having seen off some pretty lowly ranked teams, both of them down in around 100. But I'm just going off the qualifying campaign. I think Greece just look to have had a slightly better qualifying campaign in a more difficult group. And I think that could give them the edge here. They faced up to France twice recently, picked up a draw and just a 1-0 defeat on the road to France. And that's good form. They've got just one defeat in 6 games recently. So I think Greece will overcome Georgia here, but I'm going to go for them in the team goals market. I'm going to take Greece to score 2 or more goals at 13-8.
Right, okay. You might not have noticed any air punching, Barry, but you're not far away. We're on the same page. We've just slightly diverged at the end. I mean, Georgia are really the fly in the ointment here because their home form lines is hard to assess. They beat Luxembourg 2-0 the other night, which doesn't really count. Poor opposition, who also got a red card. They've got a 2-2 at home to Scotland in there. They've got a 4-0 against Cyprus. They've got an 8-0 against Thailand. But you're looking for comparison games, kind of, and it's hard. They were quite competitive in the qualifiers. They lost 2-1 at Norway, which is a decent compass. That'll do us. They lost 3-1 in Spain. So they're not absolutely terrible. And they had some good results in the Nations League, beat Bulgaria 5-2.
I think I might know where you're going here.
They beat North Macedonia, home and away. Yeah, well, the other thing, Baz, I think to factor in the price in my pick as well. Greece, 4 of their last 5 Euro qualifiers, including Thursday night, went over 2.5 goals. Greece scored in all of them. We took the overs on Thursday night, and we did say that there'd been more goals in these Greece games lately. You instinctively picture. I think when you think of Greece, you just picture that team that won that tournament. What year was that? 2000. Do you know what I mean? Where they beat everybody 0-0.
98 maybe. 2002.
Something horrible. That's kind of what your head thinks about Greece, but they have been amongst the goals a little bit. And I just think everything that applied on Thursday applies again here, Barry. But this time, the over 2.5 goals is 7-5 plus 140. The books have priced these up really cagey. They've priced these up really negatively. I don't know if the bookmakers are just sitting thinking about that Greek team as well. They've just said, "Oh, Greece, it must be 0-0." But the 7-5 is gigantic because Georgia can join in. Greece might nick this 2-1, Baz. But we've got a few outs. But plus 140 about an over, Baz. Harry's nailed it. Both teams to score. And Greece win 2-1. Harry knows. I'll take that at 7-5 plus 140. Go on, mate.
Sorry, mate. Yeah. I had a few more notes actually for my pick. I didn't realise until you started talking. But I put down here one thing I noted from the games last week. 6 qualifying games. 5 of them went over 2.5 goals. I think the other one was a 2-0. 26 goals across those 6 games. So despite there being a lot at stake, there was no evidence of any of these teams being cautious going into those previous round of games. But there was one other thing that I really liked here, and I couldn't get any odds, and I will just have another look in case anything has changed this evening. But it's cards, potentially. If you look in the Georgia game the other day, 12 cards in that game, including a red card. The Greece game had 5. But the last 2 head-to-heads between these sides wasn't that long ago, as I say, and there were 7 cards in each of those as well. So it does look like a potential card play there if we can get the odds up. There's not, I think, there's still nothing up there at the moment. They've got the player odds, but not the totals. But I'll be keeping an eye out for that. 12 in that Georgia game the other day suggests it was a bit of a feisty one, so I'll be looking at that as well.
Okay, next up then is Ukraine take on Iceland. Ukraine are 6-4 plus 150. The draw 16-5 plus 320. Iceland are trading at 11-2 plus 550. First thing to comment here, Baz, is in fact Iceland have drifted all the way out to 7-1 here. A little bit of money for Ukraine. Where's this game being played, Barry?
Wrocław.
Hey, it is. It's the home of the Magical Mystery Tour from last November. This Probably still some residue of various large pennalunas rolling the floor. Might be staying in that hotel where your brother pissed the bed, Barry.
I'm going back, Malcolm.
Sorry?
I'm going back.
Oh, yeah? Did you tell me that?
No, it's a secret.
Okay, then I won't tell you.
Hopefully she's not watching the podcast.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, don't tell the missus. You want about your missus, yeah? You're not taking someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is in Froslav, so everyone will have a good time looking out for the what are they, gnomes, dwarfs,
Little
goblins,
dwarfs,
those little brass fellas all over the place and drinking all the vodka. Ukraine were toast last week against Bosnia until the 85th minute. They were 1-0 down and well and truly going out, and then scored 85, 88 or something and turned it round and won 2-1. I think Mudryk got a goal. Harry, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. The home form is okay, and you put home in air quotes because they're not playing at home, obviously. They're playing generally in Poland. They've got a 0-0 against Italy, beat North Macedonia. They've got a 1-1 against England. And they've got a 3-3 draw with Germany. So they're all right. They're competitive against better teams than Iceland. Iceland won 4-1 in Israel. I don't know what to make of that, even a little bit. The concern for me with Iceland is the comparison games, Baz. In the qualifying group, they took all their points came from the bad teams. And I mean, like the proper whipping boys, like your San Marinos and your Lost City of Atlantis and all them. Against anyone half decent, Slovenia, Portugal, they lost by 1 at home to all of those teams. They lost by 2 away to all of those teams. It was a really nice little pattern, actually. And they did, at one point, manage to lose 3-1 against Luxembourg, which you would say was virtually impossible. They've got 3 2-goal away defeats, Barry, in their recent history. They're just going to do it again. Ukraine on the handicap is 23-17 plus 135. So Ukraine minus 1.5 goals, plus 1.5 goals. You know what I mean. Ukraine on the handicap. Barry's punching the air. Go on, Baz.
Yeah, so very similar notes. Ukraine, as you say, it's a neutral venue, but they will be well backed. You know, it's still a crowd full of Ukrainian support as they've played in Poland a lot, and they still fill them stadiums out. Just 1 defeat in 10 games for them. They came from behind late on, as you say, against Bosnia, but they were really unlucky not to have qualified for this tournament automatically. They finished 3rd behind England and Italy, level on points with Italy on 14 points. And in the deciding game against Italy, they were absolutely robbed when they should have had a penalty in the final minute.
Penalty, VAR, won it, chinned them.
Yeah, absolute garbage. So they should be in this competition already. I think they'll get through this and get there anyway. Iceland, as you mentioned, they also came from behind 4-1 over Israel. It looks comfortable scoreline, but they went behind. And at 2-1 up in the second half, Israel missed a penalty. That would have squared things up. And then it was 2 late Iceland goals. I think it was 85, 87, something like that. That puts it to bed and makes it look like a really comfortable game, but it really wasn't. Their qualifying campaign, as you've mentioned, doesn't look great. Picked up just 2 wins against Liechtenstein. They beat Bosnia. They beat... Who else? I think that was it, wasn't it? 2 wins against Liechtenstein, beat Bosnia once, lost twice to Portugal, Slovakia, and as you say, that away defeat to Luxembourg is terrible. And their away form isn't great. You've mentioned again the stuff that I've got here. They were beaten by 2 goals in 4 of the 5 games. Liechtenstein was the only one that didn't. Liechtenstein are lowest ranked team in the world, pretty much. I think they're possibly even lower than San Marino these days, are they? Anyway, again, very much like the first one, I think Ukraine's qualifying campaign looks stronger. They've only dropped points to England and Italy, and they also managed home draws against England and Italy. Both of those are much better than the Iceland side. So I also think Ukraine will get the job done, and I also think they will do it by 2 goals. So the pick for me is Ukraine minus 1.5 on the handicap. I've got that at 11-8.
Brilliant, that, Baz. You may well punch the air. Did you know, Baz, 92% of onions, right, are consumed in the country of origin?
No, I didn't know that.
Ah, it's weird, that, isn't it? There's little to no international trade in onions. I don't know. Just popped into my head just then when
Did you know? Did you know that a Roscoff onion has to come from France, though?
No,
Do you ever
a
Roscoff onion? You ever use them?
No. Just tell me about it.
Well, it's just got to come from Roscoff in France. They're a protected, like your Stilton's got to be from wherever, and your Cornish pasty, all of that sort of stuff. You can't have champagne from outside of that region, but you can't have a Roscoff onion.
Have you?
No, but I've seen them cooking with them on the telly.
What do they look like? Does it just look like an onion?
Just looks like an onion, yeah. Apparently, they're very, very good onions. Don't know. Seen them on MasterChef once.
Good onions. All right, excellent. We've done well there, Baz. On a show when 26 minutes in, we've only got 2 picks left. We'll manage to get 2 minutes out of onions, so that's let's go a little bit closer to the end. 2 more games. Game time, I'll tell you about though. Now to do with onions, these boys. Tickets is what these game time specialise in: sport, music, comedy, and theatre near you. If you wanted to go and watch Glass Onion at the cinema, Game Time is the place to go and get tickets though. Beautiful segue. Flash deals, last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee, all that sort of stuff. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you can find the tickets in the same row and section for less as well. So you can spend loads of time looking forward to what you're going to see and not as much time faffing about with your tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem the code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And finally, Hall of Fame bets, helping us win bigger by betting smarter this NBA season. The sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Researching NBA and soccer bets with historical stats and data. Put your parlays into Hall of Fame bets parlay optimizer tool, and they will break them down, sort them by hit rates, give you all the value. So stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. Okay. Final game. And this is the one, Barry. This is the one that's got the best from 166 shows. It has the best bet. I shouldn't keep saying that. I'm just digging myself a massive hole. It's Wales against Poland. Wales have been backed in ever so slightly. They were 6-4 plus 150. They're now 7-5 plus 140. The draw is steady at 2-1. And Poland they've drifted from 21-10 out to 9-4 plus 225 on the visitors. Barry, lead us off. See if you got where I got again.
Yeah, it's easy this one, so I should hope so. I've got a few little fancy plays as well, though. Get a little bit carried away, possibly. But this one for me was one where a pick just jumped out at me from just looking at the odds. Both teams finished third in their groups, where I suspect they might have expected better, possibly qualify automatically. Wales finished behind Turkey and Croatia, Poland finishing behind Albania and Czech Republic. They had almost identical records in qualifying. Wales picked up 12 points, Poland 11. Both scored 10, both conceded 10. Both came through the weekend with comfortable wins. Wales 4-1, Poland 5-1. But goals, like 11 of them in them 2 games. Now, I'm not saying we're going to see 5s and 6s here. But going back to that, what I said about those previous round of games, 26 goals in 6 games. 5 of the 6 went over. And both of these teams are getting in amongst the goals. I was surprised to see the over 2.5 as high as 7-5 plus 140. So I like that here. It's not actually my main pick, but I like the over 2.5. And I wouldn't be afraid to go a little bit higher with that. 7-2 for over 3.5, 10-1 for over 4.5, 22-1 for over 5.5 goals. It's not what I've gone for. My main pick here, though, is because the total's a good price, so too is the both teams to score. Even money for both to score here. Both these teams cruised to comfortable wins last week, still conceded. Wales have seen both to score in their last 4 competitive games. They only failed to score once in qualifying. And similar with Poland, they failed to score just once in qualifying. And the last 3 competitive games have all hit both to score. Evens here for both to score, I think, looks a great price. That would be my main pick. You could combine it with the over 2.5 and get almost 2-1. It's 15-8 for both to score and over 2.5 goals. Or, if like me, you think goals could be on the agenda, why not go full retard? And you can't say that word, can you? You get in trouble for that.
Cancelled.
I'm sure someone got a bad review for that using that word, so I apologise. If you want to be a full degen, was the word I was looking for. Both teams to score, both halves, 22-1.
Both teams are scoring both halves. Yeah, edit that bit out, Baz, no problem. No, you're absolutely right. Again, totally the same handicap, slightly different play. And it's just the over 2.5 goals, Baz. Again, at the price, like if I'd sat you down before you'd start and say, what price is over 2.5? I reckon you'd have got to 9 to 10. You might have gone shorter. You might have got to 8 to 11 or something. I don't think in a million years you've got to 7 to 5 plus 140. Because I watched the Wales game. There was 5 goals. I think it was good for a few more. Because Wales didn't actually defend that well. Finland had some chances. Like Wales got ahead totally out the blue, really. But then Finland pressed them up until half time, until Wales got that 3rd goal. And it was pretty much game over. And then you say Poland knocking a 5-1. So instinctively, you're thinking goals. Both can score, both can concede. I wanted to pick a side, Baz, just because I felt like it's a knockout game and I should have the balls to pick a side, but it was far, far, far too tricky. I think the price on Poland is too big because I generally think if they played Wales 10 times and beat them more than they didn't. So 21 to 10 is a good price, but the away form just doesn't back that up really, Baz. Doesn't make me want to pick them anyway. They lost in Czechia, they lost in Moldova, they lost in Albania. Their only away win came in the Faroes. So actually, I then started leaning towards Wales, and that's when I put a line through all of that. I was like, right, stop it. You're not going to get there. You can't work this one out. So I just looked at the goals line and instantly didn't understand the price. 7 to 5 plus 140 bars is gigantic, and that is going to be my pick. So I've got one more pick, Barry, and you don't, do you? So we're going to go into the National League here. And it's a game with a bit of local significance because it is a Northeast derby. It is Gateshead against Hartlepool. This game is on Tuesday night. What are you giggling at, Buzz?
There's a lot of people listening to this podcast who have absolutely no interest in Gateshead v Hartlepool. But, you know, you're doing a service for those that do.
Money, Baz, though, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely.
If you don't know, for all our good friends over the pond, Gateshead is the town that shares the river with Newcastle. So if you're on this side of the river, you're in Newcastle. If you walk over the bridge, you're in Gateshead. So it's literally, I like pointing, about 1.5 miles that way. They play at the Gateshead International Stadium. That's the only thing that holds Gateshead back, Baz, is that stadium's shit for football because there's a running track around it. It's just not a football stadium, even a little bit. So Gateshead do need to sort the stadium out. And they're playing Hartlepool United. Hartlepool is a little town on the Teesside coast, about 35 miles maybe down there. So Hartlepool were a league team for a long time until they got relegated recently. So it is a local derby. There'll be a big crowd there. It'll be quite raggy. I might go actually on Tuesday if I can encourage Bob out of his Xbox room. I might go down and watch this. Like Gateshead are 6th in the table, and they're in very good form. They've had a really good season. Iron Mike Williamson, centre back. If you remember, Iron Mike was he was the manager for ages and had them playing really sort of ticky-tacker football. Like if you get a chance to go look at some of Gateshead's goals from this season, like 37 passes out from the goalkeeper, 2.5 minutes possession in the score. He got the MK Dons job, so that tells you how well they were doing. That he jumped up 2 divisions to the MK Dons job, and then Rob Elliott took over, ex-Newcastle United and Republic of Ireland goalkeeper, and they're still playing really, really good football, going along well. So 6th in the table, in line for a playoff spot. They had an excellent 3-2 win at Altrincham at the weekend. In fact, goals stand out in Gateshead. In the last 6 games, they've had 3 3-2s and a 4-2. So plenty of goals around. We have said recently that the National League has been a bit of a goal fest. Gateshead are scoring 2.13 goals per game in the last 8 and conceding 1.63. So plenty of goals kicking around. Hartlepool are struggling, on the other hand. They're down the lower reaches of the league. I think they're about 15th. They sacked their manager in January, and they did get a new manager bounce. They won 4 and drew 1 between late January and mid-February when Kevin Phillips came in. So Kevin Phillips, it's a proper local derby. We've got ex-Sunderland striker Kevin Phillips managing Hartlepool against the ex-Newcastle goalkeeper managing Gateshead. Just like we talked about Forest last week, Baz, they got a new manager bounce, but then have reverted back to what they were in the. Really, I'm not sure what the change of manager was. Hartlepool have done the same thing. They've now got no win in 4, Baz. They drew the last 2. There was no patterns with the goals. I just think Gateshead are a better side. I don't know if I gave the odds out. Gateshead are 3-4, minus 133 here. So they're not going to make you rich if you just want to back them outright or use them in a parlay. I think Gateshead will win the game. Gateshead are a better team and they're playing really well at home. I think Gateshead will win the game. Gateshead have got loads of goals in them, though, like I say. So the team total over 2.5 is 13-8 plus 162. Or Gateshead to win with over 2.5 match goals is 13-10 plus 130. So there's a couple of there's a couple of different options in there. Lee saying you spent a week in Hartlepool one night, which is a good line, Lee. It is a right old place. Again, for our American followers, supporters of Hartlepool, or people from Hartlepool in general, are called the monkey hangers, because the famous story is, was it in the World War I or II, Baz? It was one of the World Wars, wasn't it?
World War I think.
Yeah. There was a monkey washed up on Hartlepool beach. I don't know how it got there. But the people of Hartlepool thought it was a Russian spy or a German spy. So they hung the monkey in the town centre, and they're still called the monkey hangers. Now, their mascot is called Hangus the monkey, which is a little bit sinister. So they've got a big monkey that kicks about. There's a big statue. You drive past the big sort of wrought iron statue of the monkey hanging on your way into the town. So it is an odd place, Lee. You did well to get out of there.
The Napoleonic War, Malcolm. We were both wrong.
I thought World War I might be a bit too recent. When's
Napoleon?
It
was a long time back. There was a ship wrecked off the Storm, and the only survivor from the ship was a monkey, allegedly dressed in a French army uniform. I mean, it does say this is an old wives' tale that probably hasn't got any truth to it. But there you go.
Did he have any Roscoff onions on his person, Barry, that monkey? Do we know?
Potentially. It
all ties together, did it? I also wanted to point you towards a couple of goal scorers, Baz, because Gateshead have got 2 really mustard strikers. The first one is DeJean Brown, who's on loan from Derby County. Kind of a bit younger, just making his way, scoring goals for fun. He is 9-2, first and last, plus 130 anytime. And the other lad's a little bit older, been around the league a little bit more. His name's Marcus Denang. Made 50 appearances for Gateshead now, scored 24 goals. So he gets amongst the goals. He's the same price, 9-2, first and last, plus 130. You can get 5-1 on them both to score at any time. So I think Gateshead are going to do a job here. So we get Brown and Denang. I've probably given far too much time on this show, Barry, over to Gateshead versus Hartlepool. But I enjoyed that, and I'm going to look forward to watching that Tuesday night. I'm done, Baz. Do you have anything else to tell the people? Any lifestyle issues?
No, it's been a quiet weekend this weekend. As I say, I've enjoyed not doing a lot in terms of watching any sport, but very quiet one. I'm back up in the northeast next weekend, as you know. Other than that, not a lot going on. Yeah, it was one for you today from my match, though, Malcolm. I mentioned earlier we won 10-0, sorry. Second half, late on, 10 minutes to go. Ball goes into their box, and the player literally just leans right down and just sweeps the ball with a hand and pushes it out for a corner.
Yeah.
And the referee just points towards the corner. So, obviously 10-0 up. I'm not complaining. But Chloe, who was our midfielder nearest to it at the time, went up to the ref. And she's like, "Ref, it's a penalty." And he's like, "No, it's a corner." but she was like going for it. Like she didn't care about the fact the score was, but she's literally just sweep the ball up with her hand, housing her pants. Wouldn't stop. Like she was going at him, and he kept telling her to go away. She was going at. So I had to bring her off just for a couple of minutes, just to say, Chloe, just calm down. I went up to the ref after the game, not to mention that, just to shake his hand. He went, I know that was a penalty. It was a blatant penalty. It was definitely a penalty. But it was 10-0, and I didn't want them to feel too demoralised, so I didn't give it. You can't do that, can you?
It's a tricky one, Baz.
They're already demoralised at 10-0, aren't they? 11-0 is not going to make a difference. The only thing that bothered me is we had a girl who doesn't get on the score sheet very often, had 2 today, and if she'd got that penalty, we'd have let her take it for her hat-trick. So she missed out on a hat-trick because of that. But I did laugh at how serious Chloe took it. Obviously, I said to him after, I was like, I'm not bothered. I didn't kick off. I said, I'm absolutely fine with that, mate. Yeah, it's not a problem. But yeah, didn't give it because he didn't want to upset anyone.
Game's gone soft, Baz. Callum reckons. Where I have issues, Baz, I'll often run the line because I think it makes me shut up because can be a right pain in the arse. So if I run the line, I feel like I have to keep my mouth a little bit more shut. But occasionally, if we are several goals ahead, if they hump the ball over the top and their striker's miles offside, I've sometimes not. In the past, I've not given him offside to try and let them have a go. But then, the goalie starts at me, but he's come for a clean sheet. Like our goalie's come today to keep a clean sheet, and because you're a soft arse, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't take something off your own kid. You wouldn't. So why are you prepared to take away the goalie's clean sheet? So I kind of see it ultimately, doesn't matter at all though, Baz.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it is I do struggle a little bit with things like that. What you need is the referee just to have a little bit about them. It's these young referees we get, which is fine because they've got to make the way. But it's the ones who are just young, but then equally won't make any kind of decision. Do you get those ones?
Yeah,
refuse
absolutely.
to blow the whistle or point.
Because I think for a while our teams have got away with it because there's not loads of fouls, there's not loads of aggro in the girls' football coming up.
Yeah.
But we've got to an age group now where they do get really physical and there's a lot of shoves in the back and fouls. But these referees have just been used to years just giving throw-ins, pointing into the centre circle every time there's a goal, and that's it. And when it comes to making a decision, they just don't want to make it either way. And sometimes just whoever shouts the loudest will get the decisions. But yeah, we get plenty of those. As I say, it's hard. They're just young kids. But at some point, they have to, start making decisions rather than just directing throw-ins and things.
We had another one of ours. I think I told you a couple of weeks ago about Bob's mate who, the Japanese lad, and they like going to his mother's house because she does all the good food, the sushi and the rice and all that. I told that story. I think he got picked up by Sunderland this weekend, which is obviously a double-edged sword because he's a huge Newcastle fan, but then equally he wants to be a footballer. So yeah, good luck to him. Right, okay, let's let everyone go, Baz. Not only is the Premier League next weekend, it's double bubble, isn't it? There's a weekend of action and then there's a midweek slate. So we'll get the show out on Wednesday and make some Prem picks. And then back to back, we'll go hard on Sunday night and make some more Prem picks. So 2 full slates over the next week and a half. So that's good, Baz. That's exciting. Good luck, everyone, with all your international picks. Thank you for joining us, Lee, Callum, Courtney, Patrick, Harry, Jar. Who else was in there? Might have been it, Captain C, said hello earlier on as well. Lloydo as well. So we do appreciate a little bit of chat. Look forward to Wednesday night. Like, rate, subscribe, all of that stuff. And in the meantime, we will see you down the road. Cheers.